So let's start. So thank you very much everyone for joining again. So Vinita Mataji is going to start with discussion about uh, appearance of Radha Kund.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. It's not letting me share my screen. 1 minute.
Yes, whether he can give permission, right?
This is the appearance of Shyamkund and Radhakund. So the story started when the story of and Radhakund started when Lord Krishna killed the bull demon Arishtasur. And Arishtasur was a powerful demon who was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. So what he did, the demon, he transformed himself into a big monstrous bull and tried to kill Krishna, but lost, and he died instead. And so after killing the demon, Krishna went to play with the gopis, but the gopis who were headed by Radharani would not let him touch them because he was impure since he had killed a male bull. And so, according to scriptural injunctions, killing cows was a sin. No matter what Krishna would say to justify his killing of the demon, the gopis stuck to their argument. So, taking the advice of the gopis, Krishna struck his foot on the ground and made a big crater where he summoned all the holy places of pilgrimage, and he bathed in that kund and said that he was now pure. But the gopis were impure now because they sided with the demon. So Krishna did offer the gopis to come bathe in his kund so that they could wash away their sins, but the gopis refused, saying that Krishna's kund had been contaminated with his sins. So then, after saying this, the gopis went to dig a crater with their bangles next to Shamkund, and they tried to fill it with water from the Manasi Ganga. After a lot of hard work, the gopis managed to make a crater with their bangles, and they used their pots to get water from the Manasi Ganga so that they could fill up the crater. And despite many gopis working to fill the empty lake with water, it just wasn't filling up. And seeing this, Lord Krishna told the gopis to take some water from his kund, but they refused because of their stubborn determination. So after hearing this, Krishna told the personalities or tirthas who were in his kund to enter Radha and the gopis kund. And so eager to serve Krishna, the tirthas entered her kund by breaking the barrier between them. Thus, Radha Kund and Shyam Kund were made, and those two places were where Krishna and the gopis enjoyed most of their pastimes together. And this is what they look like today. Yeah. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thanks for sharing. So, so yes, so Radha Kund is so it is said that we just heard nicely how Vinita shared that how they were formed. But the glories of Radha Kund are we can't list them because they are innumerable, and the Radha Kund is the most auspicious of all dhams. It is said. So, you can just imagine, like Srila Rupa Goswami, we have talked about the book Nectar of Instruction, right? There are not many verses in Nectar of Instruction. It's a very small, thin book, actually, if you have seen, right? But in that, it starts off with very general instructions for neophyte devotees. But as it goes on, it is said that in that book, in that little book, there is actually instructions for the neophyte devotees to the highest of bhakti yoga, for devotees who are performing the highest of yoga. And it starts off with some instructions, nishchaya dhairya, all the things that do's for starting devotees, the do's and don'ts for the devotees, what you should do to make relationship with devotees. And then it goes on to talk about the glories of the dhams, and especially then it talks about at the end of it, at the culmination of the book, it talks about Sri Radha Kund. That is most auspicious place in this whole universe. So, as Lord Krishna was born in Mathura, so Mathura is glorious, right? But even more glorious than Mathura is Vrindavan Dham, because he spent his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, even more glorious than Sri Vrindavan Dham is Giri Govardhan, because in Giri Govardhan, actually Lord Krishna lifts Giri Govardhan. Actually, if you all have, so anybody has been listening to Amrendra Prabhu's lectures for the morning in the Venu Geet, he spent 3 whole days just talking about 3 whole classes just talking about glories of Giri Govardhan. So amazing, so auspicious. Radharani herself says in Bhagavatam that Giri Govardhan is the topmost of all devotees. Harish, like the of all the devotees, Giri Govardhan is the highest. There is also some spiritual, it's a little bit of controversy, because actually Lord Chaitanya and Krishna himself in other places says that the Giri Govardhan is not different from Krishna. So, one side it is saying that, Lord Krishna, Giri Govardhan is same as Lord Krishna. And on another side, we are saying that Giri Govardhan is the highest of all devotees. So then, that you can listen to that lecture from Amrendra Prabhu. He very nicely gives points, where or in scriptures it has been mentioned when Giri Govardhan is the topmost devotee. And then it has also been mentioned where all in scriptures it has been mentioned that how is Giri Govardhan Krishna himself. So that's pretty amazing that and both are right. It just depends upon how you are looking at it. It depends upon what bhava we have is the conclusion of that discussion. That there are some people who look at Giri Govardhan in the bhav of a devotee, and they see Giri Govardhan as the topmost devotee, whereas other people who are in Krishna, who look at it at Krishna, they are also right. There is none of those um, tark vitark are wrong. Both are right. It's just upon the way the devotee is approaching it, and Krishna responds in that way, and Giri Govardhan responds in that way, same way. If we look at Giri Govardhan just as pile of rocks, then the same way it will respond like that. Same for our arch vigrahas in the house or temple. If we approach them just like this is just a piece of stone, then it's not going to respond, it's not going to reveal, it reacts the same way. So, but if you approach your deities as the all powerful Krishna himself, then Krishna responds in the same way. There are so many stories we know about that, where the people have very intimate pastimes with the arch vigrahas, and they take care of them and they save the devotees in so many ways when they approach it in that mood. So it depends upon the way you are approaching Krishna, the same way Krishna responds. So we were talking about how the most in Vrindavan, the most glorious is Giri Govardhan, and then in Giri Govardhan, the eyes of Giri Govardhan are the Radha Kund and Sham Kund, and those are the most glorious further in that. Yes, Avni, you have a question?
I don't have a question, but what you were talking about, it's also stated in 4.11 about how you approach Krishna the same way he'll reciprocate.
Yes, thank you. Can you recite that shloka?
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तं स्थितैव भजाम्यहं मामवर्तमनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः.
Hari Bol. 3 times Hari Bol for Avni. Hari Bol.
Haribo,
Hari Bol. Hari
Haribo.
Bol. Very nice. Yes, it's perfect. So yeah, so that is just a few things about Radha Kund, that how of all the dhams means the places of worship where you can experience the Lord on the Lord did his pastimes. Those are holy places. So of all the dhams, Radha Kund is the highest of all the dhams. So there are just just amazing glories of Sri Radha Kund that are it's very difficult to cover it in the short time we have, because we have some other stories also to cover. But I will, I think somebody wrote, maybe Natasha mentioned in the chat. Uh, oh, Navya is sending. Oh, okay. So Navya is sending about. So Navya, you want to share the story of the five Pandavas and Radhakund? Okay, go ahead,
Yes.
Navya.
Um.
So who
So
found? Let me start off with asking who found the Radhakund in this age. Who discovered Radhakund in this age?
Chaitanya
Ribol, yes. So, unfortunately, all these beautiful places of pastimes and beautiful, dham, this had been lost. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, he revived, he found out all these amazing places of, Krishna Leelas. And so, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rediscovered the Radha Kund in this age. This is the place where, the Radha Kund is. And then who led the excavation of Sham Kund and Radha Kund? In this age, when 500 years ago, when they were being excavated, being formed, made, once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is the place where it is. Does anyone know who found those?
Is it Rup Goswami, Prabhuji?
Raghunath Das Goswami Mataji. Yes.
Okay.
So Raghunath Das Goswami is a Prayojan Acharya. So, we have Sambandh, Abhiday, Prayojan. Those are the three steps for bhakti and to develop our relationship with Krishna. We have got different acharyas for each. So, Raghunath Das Goswami, who's one of the 6 Shad Goswamis, is also our Prayojan Acharya, and he is the one who led the excavation of Srila Radhakund. Radhakund is none other than Radharani herself in a liquefied form. Her bhakti, you can get the benefits of praying to Radharani just by uh, going to Radhakund, spending time there, taking the waters of Radhakund on our head by Achman, and so it is very, you can get the love of Radharani, motherly love of Radharani like that. She has, and we all know that if we get Radharani's bhakti, and as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that is what we are always looking forward to get the blessings of Radharani, so we can get to Krishna. So that is what we want. So yes, Navya, go ahead quickly. You want to tell something?
So before they were trying to make Radha Kund and Sham Kund like more shape better. So there were 5 trees near the Radha Kund or Sham Kund, and they wanted to cut the trees down. So so at the nighttime, the trees came in the dream, and they said that the trees were actually the 5 Pandavas. They said that they were the 5 Pandavas, and that they were just meditating over here because they weren't able to meditate over here in I think Dwapar Yuga.
Yes.
So then Rupa Goswami said to not cut the trees down.
Yes, Hari Bol. Thank you for sharing, Navya. 3 times Hari Bol for Navya. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. So what Navya is talking about is when Raghunath Das Goswami was leading the excavation of, forming the boundaries of Radhakund and Shamkund. The Radhakund's boundaries was made first, and that was rectangular. So, Vinita, can you share that picture again, please, of the Radhakund and Shamkund? So as Vinita Mataji is sharing, we'll continue. So the picture, as we see, we are going to see in a moment, the Radha Kund is actually rectangular in shape, whereas the Sham Kund is not rectangular. It is a little oblong. And this is the reason that Navya just discussed, that why is it oblong. So here we see, so the So these are called as the eyes of Giri Govardhan. And as we see, the Radha Kund is the one that is rectangular very clearly, and the Sham Kund is the one that is not rectangular, that is a different shape. And on one side, we can actually just make out maybe some trees over there at a corner. And and it said, yes, and it said that that's why Raghunath Das Goswami, he was planning to make that also rectangular, just like Radha Kund. But uh, we he got this the five Pandavas in the dream before the night when he was next day planning to cut the trees, and those are the five Pandavas who came to his dream and said this, please don't cut us because we are meditating on Lord Krishna, because we were not able to meditate upon Lord Krishna in Dwapar Yuga when we came, because they never went to Pandavas. We never hear about them coming to Vrindavan, right? So they are meditating as these five trees at the banks of Shamkund. So that's why they are. So then he did not cut it, and that's why the shape is not full rectangular for Shamkund. And now I think four of those trees said that they have departed, but one is still there right now. And again, these pictures, that these views that we have, this is what we see with our material eyes right now, but these places are transcendental, and you really need transcendental eyes to be able to appreciate the glories and appreciate the dham. Just like any dham, the dham has to reveal to us. If we just go there to visit and we just doing regular things, then as we just said, it's going to respond to us in a similar way as we approach it. So if we just approach it and go there, shop a little bit, do our mundane talks, and that's all it's going to be responding to us with. But if we go there and meet the sadhus, get their blessings, we go with devotees who have seen the glories of these places, then and discuss the pastimes of Lord, then we get the benefits in a similar way. It is also important to remember when we go to a dham that the benefits of doing pious activities in dham are multifold, multiplied 1,000 times, but also the apradhs are multiplied 1,000 times. So we should be very careful when we go to a dham that we should not try our best to avoid any kind of offenses to the dham or to the devotees, because it can be actually dangerous to our spiritual progress then. So that's why a lot of people sometimes suggest that it may not be the best to live in dhams, because we are not pure all the time. So for spiritual progress, for some people it is recommended, it's better to visit the dham and come back in best consciousness. Okay, so as I said, there are innumerable glories of Radha Kund to discuss, Radha Kund and Sham Kund, but we'll go ahead and go to the next part of today's program, that is Narkasura vadha. Okay, Rebol. So this is Raina Mataji's turn now, right?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so this is the story of the Naraka Chaturdashi, which is celebrating the victory of Lord Krishna over the demon Narkasura. We celebrate the Naraka Chaturdashi on day 2 of the 5-day Diwali celebration. So the story of it is Narkasura became a demon due to the bad association of the demon Bana, which shows how important association is to the path of Krishna consciousness. So Narkasura was very powerful, and he took pleasure in terrorizing people. He would raid and steal from the kingdoms of the 3 worlds. He kidnapped many daughters of the great kings and imprisoned them. One day, Narkasura heard that Indra had thousands of divine elephants. He was greedy and wanted the elephants for himself, so he attacked heaven. While he was there, he stole Lord Varuna's umbrella, Mother Aditi's earrings, and the playground of the demons Mani Parvata, of the demigods. Indra felt humiliated at his loss and wanted revenge. He knew there was only one person who was a suitable opponent for Narkasura, and that was Lord Krishna. Indra went to Dwarka and told Krishna of Narakasura's offenses. Krishna was upset and said Narakasura must die for his sins. Satyabhama wanted to accompany Krishna, so he took her to the battle. He traveled on Garuda and used his sharp-edged disc to cut off Narakasura's head. Bhumi Devi sang praises of Krishna and begged him to protect Narakasura's son, Bhagadatta. Krishna made Bhagadatta king and freed all of Narakasura's prisoners. This is where he found 16,100 young women who accepted him as their husband as soon as they saw him. Krishna returned Aditi's earrings. On Satyabhama's request, he uprooted a heavenly parijata tree and wanted to take it home, but the demigods and Indra were opposed. Krishna fought and defeated those who were opposed and took the tree back to Dwarka. He planted it in the garden adjacent to Satyabhama's palace. In celebration of Lord Krishna's victory over Narakasura, paper statues of Narakasura are filled with firecrackers and burned early in the morning in some places. The moral of this story is, in the end, evil never survives. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing the story. Okay, now it's time to check if everybody was listening or not. We'll have some questions. So let's see. Raina, you want to ask a question?
Sure.
Go ahead.
What day of the 5-day Diwali celebration is the Narakasura Chaturdasi? Navya.
Second day.
Yes. What did Narakasura steal from Lord Varuna? Vinitha. His umbrella. Yes. What did he steal from Mother Aditi? Vaidehi.
He stole her earrings.
Yes. And what did he steal from the demigods Mani Parvata? Vinitha.
Did you say their playground?
Yes, I did.
Very good. Now, Mike, my chance to ask some questions. Anybody can answer. So, who was Narkasura? Okay.
The demon.
It was a demon. What's his lineage?
He's Krishna's son, right?
So, in a way,
in a way, he's Krishna's son. The Varaha avatar.
Yes. And what happened? What Varaha
Bad
avatar?
association.
So it is actually a son from which Bhumi Devi begot. So Bhumi Devi is the mother of Narkasura, right? The Mother Earth. So Bhumi Devi is the mother of Narkasura, and Varahadev is kind of the father, because when Lord Varaha came as at the boar form, and then he dropped some semen on the ground, and I think that's how Bhumi Devi begot the son of. And from Bhumi Devi came the son of that's Narkasura. And then Narkasura, even though he is basically a son of Varahadev, the incarnation of God, he got into bad association, as Raina Mataji correctly mentioned, and became a demon and demoniac personality. Okay, and so he was doing all these bad things. He was causing all these problems. So, who came to Lord Krishna to ask for help? Okay, I think Avni hasn't answered.
People are raising their hands.
Indra.
Yes, Lord Indra came to Lord Krishna. So, devotees of the Lord, whenever they are in trouble, they actually approach the Lord for help. So, they are always thinking of Krishna, and even in distress. And it is okay to approach Krishna when we are in problem, because who else will we go to, right? So it is okay to approach when we are in trouble, but we should not approach only when in trouble, right? We should approach Lord all the time, and then as a part of it, the the happiness and distress will come. So when we are thinking about Lord in happiness, then Lord is happy, and then in distress also He helps, and He always comes to the rescue of His devotees. We have seen so many examples where Lord Krishna, whenever the devotees approach Him with any problems, then He answers their prayers. What examples can you think of when Krishna answered the prayers or helped his devotees? Okay, everybody say one example. Enough. Go ahead, Vedi, he can start, and then Vedi, Avni, then Vinita, Raina, Navya.
When Draupadi was in distress, when they were trying to disrobe her, he listened to her prayers and he helped her.
Yes, Avni.
When Gajendra was stuck in the mouth, like in the crocodile, and Krishna came and helped him.
Yes, Haribo. Um, Navya.
When the Rasa Muni came and Lord Krishna ate the rice.
Yes, so he saved the Pandavas from the wrath of Durvasa Muni. Very right. Who else? Krishna, I mean, you can think about any avatar of Krishna, it's the same. Yes, Vinita.
Um, when Indra was like causing a storm in Vrindavan and he lifted Govardhan so that his devotees and the people of Vrindavan could have shelter under Govardhan.
Yes, Haribo. Yeah, go ahead.
When Arjun was very hesitant to kill all of his relatives in the war, Krishna recited the whole of Bhagavad Gita to ease his mind.
Yes, Haribo. Okay. Do adults have the other participants have any other thoughts they want to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So when Shabri was waiting to get a darshan of Lord Shri Ram, Lord Shri Ram gave darshan to Shabri.
Yes, and he definitely he came and answered her prayers. Yes. Okay. Navya, yes.
When Narsimhadev came and healed Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Haribo. So yes, so they are, we established that they are, Krishna always takes care of his devotees. So pretty much that too. So we talked about Narkasur, we talked about his lineage, and who became the king after that, after Narkasur died. Yes, Vinita.
His son.
Yes, what was his name?
I don't know. I forgot.
Naina, you want to tell?
His son's name was Bhagadatta.
Bhagadatta, okay. I'm not sure if this is the same Bhagadatta, but there was one Bhagadatta during the Mahabharat war also. It was very prominent and a very prominent warrior. I'm trying to remember whose side did he fight for. I'm thinking he fought on the side of um, the the Kauravas, but I could be wrong. So I'll check that. Let you know. But yes, and you know how he stole all the elephants. So those all the elephants they were returned back. Actually, they were taken to Dwarka after that. They were Lord Indra's. They were basically the descendants of Airavat. They were four-tusked elephants who were mentioned. There were four-tusked elephants. They had four tusks. That's what I mean. There were thousands of elephants who were sent back. Each of them had four tusks, and they were descendants of Airavat. Airavat is the right for it came from the Samudra Manthan and is Lord Indra's right. Okay, and so how many wives does Lord Krishna have? Okay, let's see who hasn't. Everybody has answered. We'll start back again with Vedi Mataji. Go ahead.
16,108.
Yes, and then how many of them were over here from this palace after the Narkasur Vadha? Vad? Yes, Avni Mataji, go ahead.
16,100.
Yes, that's right. And he had 8 other primary wives before that, and he took these 16, he gave shelter to these 16,100 princesses who were captured by this demon Narkasur. And when he died, then he gave them shelter. And they wanted, when they saw Krishna, they wanted Krishna as their husband. And he basically gave them their wish, basically. And also, nobody else would have taken nobody else would have taken them as their wives, because they had been captured by this demon and were kept like there. But Krishna gives protection to all and everybody who approaches him, so with the pure heart. And these are actually said that they are actually sadhus and other pious people from the past who had thought about taking Lord Krishna or Lord Sri Ram when he came in the earlier Treta Yuga, when he had come as Lord Ram. They wanted to have him as his husband, or were praying to him and wanted his association. And Lord Ram said that during this time I have this ek patni vrata. I'm only allowed. I've taken the vow to only have one wife during this avatar. But when I come in Dwapar Yuga, I will fulfill your desire. And then that ways is that's how we understand this. Also, there are just some amazing qualities of Lord Krishna which are very exemplified during this pastime. He's such a big renunciate. He protected Lord Indra, who came for help. He won over the kingdom. It was a huge kingdom, this of Narkasur. And he did not take possession of the kingdom. He actually gave it to his son. He did not himself say, okay, this is my kingdom now because I won the war. No, he's the biggest renunciate, right? One of the major 6 qualities that we talk about, opulences of Krishna. So he left it and he gave Bhagdatta and Bhagdatta is basically the grandson of Mother Bhumi, right? So Narkasura was his son, and Narkasura's son is Bhagdatta. So it's grandson of Mother Bhumi. So Mother Bhumi, we see that despite the fact that Bhaumasura, or his other name, Narkasura's other name is Bhaumasura also. So Bhaumasura is, even though he was Mother Earth's son, still Mother Earth, actually being always a devotee, she actually praised Krishna when he killed. We say that Raina Mataji mentioned that that Mother Earth came and actually glorified Lord Krishna after he killed Narkasur. So a lot of beautiful things, and that we can learn from it. And then that's that whole other pastime afterwards of how Satyabhama was with Lord Krishna at the time, and then the story of Parijat flower. And actually that also has a precursor, that earlier Lord Krishna had given a flower, Parijat flower, to his other wife Rukmani. And then Satyabhama got a little envious that you didn't give this to me, you gave to Rukmani. And then Lord Krishna said, no, I'll give you the whole tree. And those Parijat flowers were only, that tree was only present in Swarg. So after this, when Lord Indra, when he won the whole fight with Narkasur for Indra, the only thing Krishna actually wanted to take, or in response said that I'll take this Parijat tree to the earth for Satyabhama. And this is how we get envious at times, that we want only from Krishna. We always want. We don't want to give anything. So that's how Lord Indra showed how that mentality comes sometimes. So Lord Indra and the other demigods, they did not want to give. He actually, Narkasur was causing so many problems. Lord Indra went to Lord Krishna for help. Lord Krishna agreed, killed the demon. There's actually the problem of killing Narkasur was also that their whole city was actually protected by another demon, Mura demon. The name of the demon is Mura. And Mura demon had a lot of different magical things that were there protecting the city. And Krishna was able to break all that with his Kadambini Gada that he has, the club. He actually broke all those enchantments, and that's why he was, that's how he was able to enter. And he killed Mura demon first, who was very very powerful, and then he killed Bhamasura. But Lord Indra was not grateful, in the sense that he did not want to just part with even one parijat tree, and was not allowing him to take that to the earth for Satyabhama. And then Krishna had to teach them a lesson again, and won over them and then took it. So we should always be grateful. Okay. Haribol. So we'll come to now, it's almost 9:30, so we'll come to Vedi Mataji's story. So
Say 3 times Haribol for Raina.
oh yes, yes, definitely. 3 times Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol for Naina Mataji.
Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol. Thank you for sharing such nice pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, Vedi Mataji, you can discuss about Bhishma Panchak, right?
Can everybody see? Okay.
Go ahead.
This is Bhishma Panchak. The last 5 days of the Damodar or Kartik month are also known as Bhishma Panchak. Bhishma Dev had fasted for the 5 days, preparing to give up his life. Lord Krishna became very pleased with Bhishma Dev, and he agreed to give his pure love to those who chant, sing, hear, read, worship, and fast during these 5 days. This is the picture when they're all next to Bhishma Dev when he's like on his deathbed. It is recommended to fast from grains during this period of 5 days. If someone observes this fast, they are considered to have observed all other fasts because it is greatly meritorious and frees one from great sins. Therefore, everyone should make a great endeavor to fast on these last 5 days of Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Panchak fasting begins on the Ekadashi day, with the 11th day, which is today, and should end on Purnima, the full moon day. One should only eat fruits and vegetables if possible, and should worship Lord Krishna, and if one needs to eat, they should do so only in the evening. Srila Sut Goswami says in the Padma Puran Uttarakhand, this liberating fast is unknown even to the demigods. If one listens to what I have said and fasts on these 5 days, even if he had sex with his sister, daughter, mother, etc., he becomes free from that sin. Even if someone attentively listens to this narration, he also achieves happiness. I tell you the truth again and again that one should keep this fast secretively and continue performing it unceasingly. Such a person surely achieves liberation. In the month of Kartik, which is very dear to Sri Hari, one who bathes early in the morning attains the merit of bathing in all places of pilgrimage. Anybody who offers the Lord a ghee lamp in the month of Kartik, O Brahman, becomes free from all kinds of sin, such as killing a Brahman, and he goes to the abode of Lord Hari, Brahmakand. This is a prayer to Bhishma Dev. Om Bhishma Santanavobhira Satyavadi Chitendriya Abhiradabhiravapnatu Putra Potra Chitam Kriyam. By following these days of Bhishma Panchak fasting, one gets the benefit of all the four Chaturmasi fasting if one had been unable to follow the same. That's it. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Three times Hari Bol for Vedahi Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Three times Hari Bol for Bhishma Panchak. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Hari Bol.
So we just heard how glorious is this these fast last 5 days of Kartik, called as Bhishma Panchak, right? It is just amazing the glories of this these 5 days. That just by fasting on these 5 days, you can get the benefit of actually performing the vrata for the whole Chaturmas. So it is so we should try as much as possible to try to do um, different levels of fasting are recommended, whatever is convenient for your body, and easy to reasonable to perform in your situation, time, place, circumstance. We should try to do it. um, this Bhishma Panchak is the prayers of Lord Bhishma Dev when he did these prayers to Lord Krishna, to be able to see Lord Krishna at the end. So we know and we can recall how Lord Bhishma had done Bhishma Dev had done this performed this fast for 5 days and was able to get the best end of life situation, in that he had Lord Krishna in front of his eyes at the time of death. So that is what we are also, that is our goal of life, that we should be able to remember Lord Krishna at the time of death. We all know that the death is coming. Someday it will come for sure. There is no doubt about it. It's for everybody. Anybody who's born has to die, and we have to prepare for that. It's there have been so many books and so many specialities and medical specialities that are there, and just for kind of talking about, and there books about how we should prepare for death. The material, for even materialistics who don't follow spirituality, say how important it is to kind of prepare for death. But they're talking about different type of preparation when they are talking, right? They're talking about, you should have your money matters fixed. You should talk about it. You should talk about what is to be done, because you may not be able to speak and you may be on ventilator and this and that. So you should always already have a medical plan as to, do you want to be intubated, do you want to be certain medications to be given to you if you are on the deathbed, and this and that. So that's all talking about the material preparations of for death, right? And that's going to end. It is also important, but at the same time, more important than that is to really prepare for death in the terms of our consciousness. That how are we preparing our consciousness for the time of death, right? There's uh, death comes to everybody. It is inevitable. We all know about it, and it is a it is just an eventuality. It is going to happen, right? It's not that we need to be scared of it. Actually, devotees are not scared of death. Devotees are actually not scared of death because they are already prepared for it. The materialists don't prepare for it, and that's why they are scared of it. They don't there is fear of unknown, we say. There's always fear of unknown. We don't know what is coming, and there's fear of unknown. But if we follow our scriptures properly, then actually it is very clear as to what is after death, what is going to be coming. So we should try our best to just devote our life to Krishna, think about Krishna as much as possible, so that at the time of death, at the time of that final exam, we are able to keep Krishna in our consciousness. And that is what the whole meaning of Krishna consciousness. That is the whole goal of Krishna consciousness. And even, when if a situation arises when we are not able to remember Krishna, we have dementia, let's say, or whatever, then Krishna promises that he will remember us at that time, right? And so, in this material life, we see how if we forget someone, if you are not doing something for somebody, that relation is very short lived. If you have to continue serving the other person, or if unless everything is give and take kind of, and if you, let's say you have a friend and you keep giving them gifts, you keep doing things for them, and they never respond to you, they don't respond to you, they never give you any gift, or they don't pay you any attention to you, and we say, "Oh, man, this is a one-sided relation. What is the point of it?" You'll find some other friend who reciprocates with you, right? But with Krishna, and that reciprocation is not guaranteed. So with the material person, but with Krishna, we know reciprocation is guaranteed. Thousands and millions of people have tried it, and people who have tried it, they know, and they have told us that it is guaranteed. This reciprocation from Krishna. There's a book called as Your Best Friend. So it's a small book, easy read, and it talks about your best friend is Krishna. He would reciprocate always, and not even whatever, if you even have a best friend here in this life, or really somebody who you feel is really doing everything for you, but then it is just for this life. That relationship ends after death. It is not a eternal relationship, but with Krishna it is an eternal relationship. So in Bhagavatam it is said that just like there are multiple examples given for this, but just like you meet somebody in a train, you're going traveling, or vacation, people meet. There's actually a book I saw on one of my travels, that people we meet on vacation. So there's an actual book on that that we meet people really quickly during vacation, we become friends with them, and then after that you hardly ever talk to them, and they go their own place, you go their own place. In India, lots of people travel in trains, so we know that you'll sit with some people, you'll talk with them, you'll have a meal or two with them, maybe share your experiences, their experiences, but then their stop will come, they will get down, and you probably never will see them again. So this life is also like that we are meeting few people during this life. They are relatives, our loved ones, and whatever, but then it's a short-lived relationship. It's just a matter of time that relationship will end, because after this life that relation is not going to continue. The maximum you can have for that relationship is for during this life. That is the maximum. But with Krishna, our relationship is eternal. That the relationship you make with Krishna, a smart investor invests in the long term, for get long term gains. So somebody who's putting money, you want to invest in something. If you're investing your money in something, you want long term gains. That 10 years down the line, what's going to happen to this company? Then I'll invest in this company. I'll get more results. You're not selling off the moment something bad happens or to that company. You're looking for the long term gains, a smart investor. So similarly, we need to be really smart about our time, and we need to invest our time in a very thoughtful manner. We should invest in the long term with Krishna and spend our time for Krishna, so that we are making the long term investment, not just during this life, but for eternal, because that investment doesn't go waste. Krishna says that, right? So anybody remembers that shloka? That even whatever you do in this path, it is not laid to waste, and can save you from the worst of fears. It's in your 50 shlokas. Yes, Avni, Mataji, go ahead.
Is it Vishya Vinivartante?
No, so that one, so Vishyavane Vartante is talking about, what you're thinking about, and, the higher taste it's talking about. But Neha
Neha
Bikrama,
Bikrama?
yes, go ahead.
Neha Bikrama Nashosti Pratya Vayona Vidyate Svalpam Apiyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bayat.
Yes, what's the meaning?
It's like
We can say.
hmm?
Yeah, go ahead.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and the little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Yes. So, the most dangerous fear for materialist is death. And devotees then don't need to fear that, because it says, Krishna has said that even the little path in the little advancement in this path saves you from the worst of fears. So, for a devotee, he's just actually going back to Godhead, or going to a better place where he can perform the devotion in a better way if it is not completed in this life. So, um, so it's not a fearful condition, right? So during this time in Bhishma Panchak, my point was that Lord, Bhishma Dev, he thought about Lord Krishna. He observed this fast and remembered Lord Krishna, and he wanted to see Lord Krishna at the time of death. And we know that Lord Krishna was personally present at the time when Bhishma Dev left his body, and Lord Bhishma Dev was remembering Lord Krishna. It is said beautifully in Bhagavatam about that form in which Lord Krishna had even broken his own promise to just almost broken his own promise to keep the word of his devotee when he lifted the wheel, the chariot wheel, to kill Bhishma, because Bhishma had made a vow that. It's a long pastime, but basically Bhishma had made a vow that I will make Krishna pick up the, kind of fight with me, or make him break his vow, because Krishna made Bhishma Dev break his vow, because Bhishma Dev had made a vow that he's going to kill the Pandavas, and Lord Krishna obviously found a way around it. So, so yes, beautiful things to learn from the life of Lord Bhishma. It's a very complicated character that we discuss at times, but he is a Mahajan, and Anita Mataji remembers, I think, all Mahajans. She had given us a nice talk once about all the Mahajans. But the Mahajans basically are the people, the 12 people, the 12 Mahajans that we are supposed to follow in their footsteps. And Bhishma Dev is one of them. Of all the universe, of all the people, he's one of the 12 people we are supposed to be following his example. So he's a very, very great personality. And that great personality observed this fast of Bhishma Panchak. So we should definitely try to follow on his footsteps as much as possible. And at least, more than anything, Ramarendra Prabhu was saying this morning in his class that if nothing, the most important thing is chanting. So we should try to chant at least as much as possible during these days, and remember Krishna sincerely, and think about the Lord, and we can reach the best benediction in this life. The Hare Krishna. So yes, please devotees kindly share. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I had like two questions. One is related to the advance directives that you were talking. So, how do how should one approach using Krishna consciousness, like application wise, when you're making these important decisions, like when as you said, you come up with advanced directives, whether we see in day-to-day clinical scenarios at work, like they are deciding for elderly patients, end of life, they may be they may have like advanced dementia, quality of life is poor, but should we put a feeding tube, should we just, so those kind of situations come up. and opinions are sought. And as a part of like interdisciplinary team, we are always asked to give our 2 cents. And materially speaking, we give those opinions. But how do you kind of use this Krishna consciousness and come up with these decisions, not only like for them, but even for family members?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, it's a very good question. I can share what I understand about this. It may not be the highest understanding, and definitely we can ask senior devotees further about this. Um, so, my understanding this from listening from senior devotees is that one should be able to think about Krishna and remember Krishna till the end of life. What we should be doing for somebody who is on a deathbed is best thing is we should be chanting, doing kirtan. We have in India there's a beautiful project, the Bhakti Vedanta Medical Hospital. I think you have visited. Ravi Prabhu has visited, where they are chanting the names. Harinam is there all the time. All the doctors, they are doing Harinam all the time, and they all do a combined prayer every day about for all the patients, and the patients join in. I'm not sure what exactly. Somebody from there, I know Atul Prabhu knows some devotees who are working in that hospital. They will be the, I think, best people to discuss and to tell us the answer exactly to the detailed things. But at least for family, I think it is a personal decision still. Being saying from a medical standpoint also. So, like I don't know, my mom was here a moment ago. She's not joining anymore right now. May have to leave, but I know that she has mentioned that she does not want too much of being intubated for long, and when if she cannot make the decisions herself, she wants end of life at that time whenever that arises, right? um, and so we have to respect that decision, that it's a decision, but at the same time, the it's more important than talking about what to do at the time is how to prepare for that time when we are able to do things and make decisions. So definitely it's an important point. We have to think about it, talk about it, but at the same time, how much are we utilizing our time right now when we can take the name of Krishna, when we can remember Krishna? How sincerely we do that right now, that is most important. So we should try to, so it is again personal, it is then for family, and then for patients. So at three levels we have to approach, right? So
Yeah.
personal, uh, we should, when we are right now able to talk, able to remember Krishna, talk, do all the things, then for personally we should try to remember that there may be a time when I may not be able to remember Krishna, I may not be able to chant, I may not be able to move the beads with my hands. There may be a time like that. So with that intensity, we need to bring that intensity in our chanting, that Krishna, thank you for giving me this opportunity that I can take your name and say loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, with all surrender, and with the trying to really make the most of this moment that we have, because we don't know till how long our life is. We don't know when we will not be able to do any of these things that we are able to do today. So that's on personal level. And again, it's personal, so I can't say in for general that everybody should do this or that. That's to end of life, but
Yeah.
I agree with with what my mom is saying for her. I think I respect that. And
Yeah.
once if the, like Prabhupada used to say, let's use the example of Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada used to say this body has become useless at the end of his, close to end of his life. He used to say this body is become useless. So we need to think from the level of the soul, that we are the soul, not this body. the body is just going through its transformations, and at the end it will become useless. And at that time, there is no point just trying to prolong the life by artificial means, when we can't think about Krishna, we can't remember Krishna, we can't, because the purpose of life, we have to go back to our scriptures and think really what is the purpose of this life. The purpose of life is to remember Krishna and to go back to Godhead. So unless we are unable to progress in that, and do that, then what is the point of just breathing? When we can't remember Krishna, we can't think about Krishna, we can't progress in that path. It's better to get a new body when we may be able to do that. And for that, we have to, all our rest of the life is important, so that we do get a body if we are going to get a next life, which is more favorable to continue in our path of bhakti. So that is my understanding, Mataji. We also have actually in the BMA that you attended, Bhaktivedanta Medical
Yeah.
Association, there also we have had discussions like this, when we have talked about what to do for senior devotees. And there are lots of devotees, unfortunately, right now who have spent their whole life devoted to Krishna, but they have not been, thinking materially in terms of what to do
Yeah.
at the end of life. And it is recommended now. We are trying to get uh, there have been efforts so that they can make sure that they have insurance and everything, so that their needs are taken care of, so that they can be comfortable at the time of end of life. But at the same time, I think when we are at a point when there is no further chance of of doing bhakti, or to remember Krishna, then it's questionable as to, again, the personal um, plans come into play. And it's not one for all answer, but it's
That's true.
very individualized.
Yeah,
So
because sometimes, like, it's not only the aging process that comes, it's also unexpected situations like sickness, accidents, stuff like that, that will require unexpected, situations
right,
that
Mataji.
will come up. But that's a good point you made, that if your body is not letting you, render those services, or it's not conducive for bhakti, then maybe, that's a good way to think about it, to make those decisions. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, and my second question was about, may I ask the
Mhm, sure,
second
sure, go ahead.
point? It was regarding the presentation that Vaidehi made. So what is the timeline? Like, is Bhishma Dev praying when he's on the deathbed, or this is he's doing before the war and everything has started, this Bhishma Panchak?
Yes,
Because the photograph that was shown, that she used, it showed that he's on the, deathbed arrow, is lying on the arrows of, and there Sri Krishna is present. But I took it as that his wish was fulfilled after he performed the Bhishma Panchak to see Lord Krishna, and he got there.
Yeah. So I think this is a common confusion, and
Yeah.
we have tried to address it and tried to know more about it. And my understanding, again, from what I have read and from senior devotees, is that this is the vrata that Lord Bhishma Dev he kept beforehand, so that he can see Krishna at the end of the life. It is
Okay.
not
That
when
makes
he's
sense.
already, yeah, and it is not at the time when he's already on the deathbed, because
Yeah.
again, he's a Mahajan, he's leading by example. We need to follow his
Yeah.
example, that we need to keep this vrat whenever we can, and keeping it every year whenever we can, till we have that chance, so that we can remember Krishna at the time of death. When you're already on the deathbed, then there is no point.
You're
then
right.
then we may not get the chance. Lord Bhishma Dev is, he had a different situation when he could, he had a chamrityu, he could prolong his life for longer. But combining it with that, your other question, he was actually already thinking about Krishna that whole time. He actually sent all his relatives away and everybody away, and saying that I just want to focus on that form of Krishna, with his chariot wheel in his hand, wearing the pitambar with sweats of bead on his face, and his body covered with a dust of Kurukshetra a little bit. So all that. So he gives a beautiful description in Bhagavatam in that first canto, where Bhishma Dev prayers are there, all the but again, this is not at the time when he is leaving his body. He left his body. Bhagavad Gita is in usually around December. When Bhagavad Gita is spoken, we say is around
in Gita
December,
Jayanti, Mokshada Ekadashi.
right? Mokshada Ekadashi. So that is later time wise compared to right now.
Right.
We are doing the Bhishma
Right.
Panchak, and then in January is when he left his body. When Uttarayan starts, that's when Bhishma Dev left his body. So that's my understanding, Mataji. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. I hope the kids understood what we were trying to discuss. Yeah. Yeah, I think the first question was beyond their scope, I guess, for the kids. But yes, the second was pretty much about the timeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes. Any other thoughts? Please share your realizations, thoughts. Everybody. I see Priyanka Mataji is there. Manisha Mataji is there. Any thoughts? Any questions? Any realizations? We discussed a few wonderful pastimes. The kids, they did an excellent job discussing some wonderful pastimes of Krishna today. Anita Mataji, anything you want to share?
No, Prabhuji, I just would say that I got to learn so much from three presentation. All these topics, like I had heard, but never could note it down. So today I was noting it down when they were presenting. So hopefully I will remember from now onwards.
Very well. Yes, thank you for all of them for sharing. Okay, so I think it's about time to end the class. So we'll do our one round of chanting before we end, and then sincerely try to remember Krishna during that time, and say with all our heart chant. So give me a minute. I'll also get my bead bag.